Hi, good evening. How are you today? I hope you've been well. This look is a little more complicated than the last one that I did, but winter is just so dynamic, so I thought I'd give it a shot. With this particular look, there's a lot of trusting the process. There's a lot of things that don't make sense until they do make sense, so just bear with me and let's paint. Up first, I'm taking an applicator brush and I've mixed yellow with white, and I've tried to make a very egg color. Can we agree on that? It looks like an egg. With that same yellowish color that I've made, I've added a little bit of pink to maintain that same undertone of, yellow. And I use that to cover my eye area. Mixing lilac now with white body paint, I cover my forehead and I go a little off the radar here. So I thought about what clouds would be, the shadows in the sky, because my face is going to be ultimately a night sky. And I've taken that lilac and white blend and I've made it another undertone to what will eventually be night sky. This next color I use is a purple, and I'm using my very dense, it's a buffing brush. I'm using that to apply it, and I try to buff it out with this brush and realize very quickly that it doesn't work, so I end up buffing it out with a dry, fluffy brush. It takes a couple tries, but I eventually do get used to using it this way. I do want to make it as soft as I possibly can. I did it in my last video, but I'm doing it a little differently this time. And I do try to keep it sort of beauty, sort of not. I take that pink from before and I go over the pink parts that I did last time because it is very close to my skin color, unfortunately, and I had to make that stand out a little more. Taking that dense buffing brush again, I go into a very dark blue that I have, and I use the same kind of method I did with the dark purple, but more as a contour. I think at one point, that fluffy brush there, I end up wetting a little bit just so I can give it an easier blend, and that turns out okay, so I just keep doing that with this particular color. Because at this point I'm trying to create clouds, I'm going with my gut. I'm putting it like there's no particular way to put it. Where do you feel there should be some clouds, some shadows, some darkness, some light? This part is all interpretation, it's all up to you. It's your artwork. So if you try this, you don't need to copy exactly. Do what you feel is nice. I kind of get lost in the moment, so I just start adding clouds from different colors and see how they look. Play with it, you're an artist now. And now I take a very small blending brush and I add more depth with black. I take a light blue body paint here and my duo fiber brush just to add some stars. They don't look like stars now, but they will in a second. I've tried to make them sort of look like shooting stars. They'll glow later, it'll be fine, don't worry. And a mixture of that black and dark blue just to make more depth. This is a night sky and it did look a bit light, so. For this next part, I am drawing mountains on my face. Now, because this look is a little complicated, I'm gonna speed through the parts that you might need to see how it's done, but don't necessarily need me to explain every little thing because how hard are mountains to draw, right? And I just start that off by mixing black and white to get a very light gray. I then mix a little black into that grey and I add foreground mountains. And with a flat applicator brush and a very dry mix of white, I'm making snow on these mountains because let's not forget where we are. We're in winter. I was a little in the zone here, so I just added some little mountains in the foreground. Now there are 3 layers. Okay, for this next part, we are working in layers here, very different to how we did the night sky or how we did any other video with layers. We're working under frozen lake, so whatever we do now has to be blurred. The best way to tell you what I'm doing is actually just by showing you, so that's what I'm gonna do. Dipping into that dark blue that I used from before with that same buffing brush, I pretty much apply it to my whole neck, shoulders, and chest. have added a little bit of water to that fluffy brush just so it blends a lot more evenly, because remember, this particular color stains. If you don't have a color like this, you don't have to worry about that. I mix a little bit of black in with that dark blue and I start creating some shapes. This is going to be our cracked ice, so the foreground or the midground of the lake, if you will. With this, I just kind of did random dark and light and it kind of came together at the end. This is one of those trust the process things. I've chosen to randomly add a little bit of black for a bit more dimension and depth, and all of those things that I always say, assume that that's always what I'm doing. I've taken an angle brush here, dipped it in white paint, and created shattering glass. To do this, I've picked a point which is pretty central to all of the colors that I've added, and I just outline it, essentially. And I add a few details where it feels right. When that's done, I take a blending brush and just white body paint. I'm pretty sure I've mixed it with a light blue, but it could just be that it's mixing with the blue underneath it. And at this point, I'm just creating reflected ice. Because the ice closest to my face or closest to the mountains would be still lit from the moon behind it, that's why I do that here on the neck. I try to create sort of like ripples on an ocean, but ice. And I do that sparingly over different ice shatters that I would think are more high than the others. So the lower ones would be darker, the higher ones would have lighter reflections. Then I take a very fine detail brush and just add more white, because that's going to bring out the ice shadows, it's going to bring out the gleam. And it's going to really pull everything all together. I also use that fine detail brush to create a little more snow and a little more detail on those mountains so they don't look too flat up against what else is happening on my body. I've added some eyeliner off camera and I've just lined the inner waterlines of my eyes, added some mascara. I've tried to keep this as simple as possible because again the look is so busy. Here I took remnants of the blue. I don't think I dipped it into anything, this brush, but I tried to cover a little more of the yellow because again this is ice. I did want it to look like it was under the ice as opposed to just sitting on top of it, so that's why I did that. And now we're gonna add some stars. There. There. And there. Look at all those stars. Oh, how pretty. Just adding some fine details and we're done. And this is it. This is my look for this week. I had so much fun making it. I know I say that in every video, but honestly, this is so much fun for me. That's all for me this week. Have a lovely rest of the week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.